Hey, Stewart staff, coming to you on Friday here with our April staff meeting. Hope you're able to use the time this Friday afternoon to get some things accomplished and get yourselves ready for next week. I believe if my count's not off, we are within the last 30 school days of the year, so things are coming quick here to the end of the year. But here we go with I want to start off with some good things. Just a couple shout outs, some good things that are happening around the building. One, I guess, I want to talk about our an update on professional development. This is more going to apply to next year, but one of the things we've been discussing in our admin team is wanting to one reduce the amount of PD hours that we have. We're really in a place where we want to implement a lot of the things that we've discussed and talked about, whether that's CKLA, whether that's our CT work. And just have more time for those things that we've talked about and been building on, and take some of that time away from PD. So, looking at next year, the CI team, we are looking at trying to differentiate some of our PD and provide some different options, and that's why some of those PD surveys have gone out, and we've been taking those responses to try to build some things that are going to be more specific, and we'll address some of the things that people specifically need in their day-to-day work and what they need currently in their classrooms. So. We'll be looking at building that and presenting that here before the end of the year, so you guys have an idea of what that looks like next year. But we are looking at significantly less PD hours, and more time for work time, more time for CTs, and that sort of thing. So that's a good thing. Another thing, Tier 3 has started, which we've done a lot of Tier 2. We've done Tier 2 in the past. We've never really had a good hold on Tier 3, at least in the 3 years I've been here. Tier 3 has always been kind of a piece that's escaped us, but just trying to get ourselves started, get something up off the ground that we can kind of refine and work on as we go. Happy to see the reading Tier 3 intervention started. Our M-Class data, I'm going to go through that here in just a second, but I presented some of this to the school board just this past Wednesday, and just had some good things to share, so I wanted to share that with you as well. And then the last thing is schedule flexibility. We've had a lot of different things, whether it was trying to work in those Tier 3 interventions, as I mentioned, or we've got some different things coming up in the coming weeks here, and just people being willing to be flexible and move some things around so other things can be allowed to happen. So that's been a good thing also as well. So in the next little segments here, I'm going to go through some of our literacy data, and we've got some behavior data, attendance data. I won't go through everything word for word. You can reference some of these things on your own, but I do want to point out a few things. So first thing here, just talking our literacy data. So in the Amplify system, I can go through and one of the reports that I can pull is some information about M-Class. So this is probably the most to-date school-wide student performance data that I can pull. And so what I have here, again, I pulled these from some of the slides I presented to our school board. I just want to point out a couple things here. So one, we talked back after the winter screening, and the really nice thing to see was we made some positive gains in our level of proficiency in reading. As a building, we went up 4% in proficiency, which is great, and it's been the highest level of building-wide reading proficiency that we've had, at least again the last 3 years that I've been here. So those were positives for sure to see. But 4% sometimes, that doesn't feel significant, or even talking 56% as a whole, like there's ground to make up there, but I don't want to understate the growth that we are seeing and the moves that we are making, and so that's what I wanted to really share and point out to our school board. As you can see here, anything that's highlighted in yellow, you can see from fall, we have the percentage of students who are at beginner level, progressing and proficient on each of these different areas and skill groups. You can see the fall percentage versus current, where we're sitting based on our progress monitoring in M-Class. So some of these are huge gains, 4% to 83%, 29 to 84%. 2 to 42. Some of these are just huge. And so any of these highlighted in yellow, just out of thin air, I just kind of said 20% or more. And so any of these, we had more than a 20% growth in our proficiency in these specific areas. One thing I'll point out too, as you're looking, some of these numbers do kind of change, and you'll notice some of these do not add up to a full 100%. And that means either we had students who performed well enough that they didn't have to take some of these assessments, or we had students who didn't perform well enough to get to that assessment. And so, with that being said, you'll see some of these numbers fluctuate, but as time's gone on, you can see students move from the PA and letter sounds piece to and they're progressing into some of these larger groups here as you move down the line. So this is kind of our school-wide data. And then as you move down here, there is some of the breakdown from our AK in kindergarten, first grade, and second grade. And again, you can see those the growth in those areas from fall to current. So take a look at those as you're going through. And then next here, I have our student attendance. Our building goal here is to be at 13% or less in our chronic absenteeism rate. And so you can see here, we've been doing really well all year long. January, February, as we kind of could have assumed, the illnesses kind of got the better hand on us. And so we're above that 13% mark for those months. But happy to say here in March, we dropped back down for the year to 12%. And by all indications right now, it seems like April's going to be below that number as well. So I'm pretty confident here by the end of the year, we'll be under that 13%. So just under there, you can see our breakdown of for the whole year, how many 3-day notifications, the different letters and different things we've had going for attendance are going on. And then I have a breakdown of just strictly third trimester. So you can take a look at those. And then I have a breakdown of our student behavior. Again, looking at third trimester, I went back to March 3rd through April 11th. I guess not necessarily third trimester, but the last month or so of data since I would have last reported some things out. So you can see the breakdown there of, how many students are really receiving these referrals, what are the referrals that we're seeing most frequently, when are they happening, where are they happening, and why are they happening. So again, you can kind of look through those, but you've got some of that data from recent, and then also the breakdown from the entire school year, so you can see comparatively where we are with those behaviors. So that's just some of our data, and the next thing I have on here is our crisis response. So one thing, and I can't recall if I shared this out previously or not, but something I wanted to point out to you, there is an updated page on the Demon Hub. So if you click into the Demon Hub, you will see in the table of contents here, there's a tab called Crisis Plans. And so partly this was with the SEL team, but something I've been also working on is updating our crisis plans. Adding some things in that were not there. Obviously, some of these things were already there. The fire drill, storm drill, lockdown drill, these were all already there. But I've added some additional information just in case of an emergency. We have some of these plans in place. But again, you can scroll through this and see, what some of our plans that are in place, and familiarize yourself with this page. But three I would like to point out is our drill procedures. We have to do our final firestorm and lockdown drill all before the end of the year. And so particularly that lockdown drill, you may want to familiarize yourself with that once again. There are some procedural stuff in here that you can look at in the drop down. And then also, not that we will practice this, but just a reminder of where our rally point is. So we have ever had to evacuate from the building. Just some directions on how to get there and where that is located. So again, those are things that I just want you to take a moment and take a peek at when you get a chance. And that's all within the Demon Hub. And then finally, this is a bit overdue because we've talked about this a number of weeks ago, but wanted to send this out. We've talked a little bit about our laminator. As you know, we've had several issues with the laminator breaking down, having to do repairs, and unfortunately, everything that has to do with the laminator is extremely expensive, whether it's buying the film to laminate or it is having to make a repair. I think every time we call a repairman just to come out and look at it, it's a minimum of like $1,000. So it's a very expensive machine. So we want to kind of eliminate as much overhead cost on that we don't want to have. So we have some specific people. So Denise, Darla, we have a procedure for them. If they are not here, Tracy Laws has also knows how to operate the laminator. And then for pre-K, Megan Broody and Cindy Nisley will also be helping with the laminating as well. But there's just some procedural stuff here that we want to put in place so that if there is laminating that needs to get done, you guys have that. We'd like you to follow that procedure moving forward. So take a look at that and just familiarize that. Just some info there on the laminator. And then the last thing, I put this in here, that sent this out a couple weeks ago, but if you have any feedback on our PBIS expectation lessons, we're thinking ahead to the fall when we want to review our expectations and go through our lessons, that we would like to get some feedback from you if we can. And so if you didn't have a chance to fill that out, or you haven't, or you have some feedback that you haven't provided already, that survey is there once again for you to enter and put in that feedback. So with that, that is your kind of the staff meeting updates. So take a moment to look at that at your leisure and have a great weekend. We will see you all here next week. Thank you.